Welcome to this video where I will go through the plot of Romeo and Juliet, the classic Shakespearean tragedy, and one of the plays that you're most likely studying for GCSE on AQA. Now, obviously you'll know Romeo and Juliet is about 24,000 words long, so we'll just condense things down, try to hit the main points for you. So the play opens. Well, I guess slightly before this, we have the prologue, which sort of outlines the key events, which is in itself like, I guess, a little summary of the plot, isn't it? To build that sense of inevitability. Okay. So what's this? Well, we have a street in Verona, the Italian city, where a brawl breaks out between the Montagues and Capulets, these two Italian families who have been at each other's necks for generations. Key characters from this moment, I guess, are Samson and Gregory. We also see the prince turn up. We also see Tybalt. And it's meant to show just how violent these times are, how much hatred there exists between the two families, that everyone's getting sort of pulled up into this. After this kind of fight occurs, the prince sort of makes it clear that any more violence will result in like an execution. Okay, so he makes this big threat. So essentially what we're saying is no more of this, people, too much fighting, too much violence on the streets, too much blood being shed. It's time to stop. Anyone else who does this, I mean, ironically, too much blood being shed, any more blood shed and I will shed blood. But, that's the times in which we're living. So it's this very violent opening. Okay, very, very violent beginning. Then we sort of pivot and we meet Romeo. And Romeo is depressed because his girlfriend, Rosaline, dumped him. Basically, he's been chucked. See you later, mate. She's just not interested in him anymore. And he's sad. He's walking around, he's sad. He can't see any point in life. All the color has gone from the world, and he never thinks, he never imagines that he'll ever be happy again because Rosaline was his world. Okay. We have this chap here. This is Paris, and this is Lord Capulet. And Lord Capulet has promised his daughter Juliet to Paris in marriage. Okay, so here they're discussing, Paris is basically saying, when will I marry Juliet? And Lord Capulet's like, she's a bit young right now. She's not really ready, but don't worry, we'll get that sorted. We'll get you married. Okay, he's a kind of a bit lame, bit of a cheesy guy. So, what do these people love doing? They love throwing parties. They just love a party, and they have a masquerade ball where people stick on masks and go around. And because Romeo knows Mercutio and they're best pals, and because Mercutio is not a Capulet, he gets invited and he gets a few +1s, as it were, and he brings them along. Anyway, at this party, Romeo sees Juliet, and I guess Juliet sees Romeo, and they fall in love at first sight. Okay, they see and they fall in love at first sight. How romantic. However, Tybalt, who I mentioned earlier on, recognizes Romeo and sort of chases them out the party. Okay, because why is there a Montague at this Capulet party? He's angry. He's enraged. Before they leave Romeo and Juliet, however, they discover, oh no, that they're from opposing families. So they discover that they are from, this is Romeo here, Juliet, from from these kind of opposing families. My only love sprung from my only hate. But that's not going to stop Romeo, because as him and his boys are dashing out the party before they get beaten up, he hangs back, he jumps over a big wall, and Romeo goes to see Juliet. Okay, Romeo goes to see Juliet. Basically, Juliet makes him commit to marriage before they do anything physical. How are they going to get this done? How are they going to get the wedding sorted so they can be together? Well, they're going to need these two people to help out. The nurse, that's Juliet's nurse, and the Friar Lawrence, who is this local priest who I guess is like Romeo's surrogate father figure. So the nurse and Friar Lawrence facilitate the wedding. You know, they sort of put things, oops, sorry, 3Ds there, put things in place to get it done. Romeo and Juliet get married. How cute. However, the next day is very hot. And when it's hot, people get angsty, don't they? They get a little bit tetchy. And Tybalt comes searching. Well, I guess he's searching for Romeo. But in his quest to find Romeo, he finds Mercutio, who is, of course, Romeo's best mate. And they fight. And Mercutio is killed. So therefore, because of revenge, because of honor, Romeo kills Tybalt in revenge. And then through all of this chaos, Romeo gets banished. And he gets sent to a place called Mantua. Now, just as a word on this, you'll remember that if there was any more bloodshed, the prince said he was going to have to shed some blood. I mean, here he goes back on his word again. He just banishes Romeo instead of having him killed. Juliet finds out. But ultimately, you know, Romeo's her husband now, so she sides with him. And before Romeo leaves to Mantua, he sneaks into Juliet's bedroom and they consummate their marriage. And then Romeo in the morning leaves. Okay, Juliet has to pretend to be really sad now. And because she's so sad, Lord Capulet sort of hastens the wedding for Juliet in Paris. He's like, okay, if she's so sad, I know what will cheer her up, getting married. So let's get Paris on. He goes to tell her this, but she obviously, well, firstly, she's already married, so she can't get married again. And nobody knows, and she's got this big secret. So Juliet refuses, and Lord Capulet loses his rag completely. He goes mad, goes completely sort of just so angry at her, beats her, insults her, all this horrible stuff. Okay, so obviously Juliet's very upset. What does Juliet do? She goes to Friar Lawrence. She says, I want to die. I hate my life. I'm being forced to do something here that I don't want to. Friar Lawrence has a plan. And the plan is essentially for Juliet to take a potion to look dead Everyone will mourn her. Oh, that's so sad. She'll be placed in the Capulet tomb. A day later, she'll wake up. Everyone will think that she's dead and she can escape and go to Mantua and be with Romeo happily ever after. She takes the potion. I'm going to put dies. Okay, everyone mourns her. Now, the important part of this plan is that Romeo knows that she's just pretending to be dead. However, a letter telling Romeo the plan doesn't arrive. And so his mate, a guy called Balthazar, tells Romeo Juliet is dead. So he leaves Mantua, he comes back to Verona, he buys a poison off the apothecary. He takes the poison to Juliet's tomb. Well, first of all, before he takes the poison, Romeo kills Paris. Then he goes down, he sees Juliet is dead. Dead. Romeo drinks the poison. Just after he drinks the poison, Juliet wakes up, sees that Romeo is dead, kisses his lips to try and drink some of the poison. When that doesn't work, she stabs herself and dies. Both families come along. We learn that Romeo's mum is just randomly dead. She died of a broken heart. And the Montagues and Capulets lay down their weapons and they find peace. There you go.